Intelligence type with astrology case study, Amelia. Amelia's Virgo ascendant in Hasta sets the tone for a mind that is discerning, hands-on, and sensitive to order and meaning. Her planetary placements express multiple intelligence types, each activated through refined Nakshatra archetypes. Her core strengths lie in intrapersonal, linguistic, visual spatial, existential, and bodily kinesthetic intelligence, each functioning with emotional nuance and structured depth. In her third house, Moon in Vishaka and Ketu in Anuradha reveal deep interpersonal and existential intelligence. The moon processes emotional intensity, while Ketu decodes hidden truths. Amelia likely reads emotional subtext, notices subtle shifts in tone, and can hold space for emotional complexity. These placements make her an insightful listener and intuitive analyst, someone who relates through presence more than performance. In the fourth house, Venus in Purva Bhadrapada activates visual spatial intelligence, shaped by spiritual symbolism and emotional depth. She organizes her inner and outer worlds through aesthetic and energetic coherence. Her sensitivity to beauty and emotional design supports intuitive emotional regulation and the ability to create healing, intentional spaces, internal and external. Her fifth house, Sun in Purva Bhadrapada, reflects strong intrapersonal intelligence, guided by visionary clarity and ethical creativity. She is likely a quiet mentor, someone who seeks purpose through inner refinement. The Sun here empowers her to synthesize personal experience into insight, with the desire to influence or guide others through emotionally resonant self-expression. In the sixth house, Saturn in Purva Falguni gives her disciplined bodily kinesthetic intelligence. She is methodical and responsive to structure, especially in service-based roles. Alongside Saturn, Mercury in Purva Bhadrapada supports linguistic intelligence, expressed through deep, thoughtful speech and writing. She likely articulates what others feel but cannot say, particularly in emotionally charged, healing, or spiritual contexts. The conjunction of Mars and Mercury in Uttara Bhadrapada in her seventh house strengthens the bridge between bodily and linguistic intelligence. Mars adds action-oriented clarity, while Mercury refines expression. In relationships and dialogue, Amelia moves with precision and impact, able to combine assertiveness with empathy and spiritual depth. She may lead or heal through the integration of speech and action. In the ninth house, Jupiter in Mrigashira enhances existential intelligence, expressed through a love of learning, pattern recognition, and layered curiosity. She is likely a seeker of meaning across disciplines, blending psychological, spiritual, and philosophical insight. This placement makes her a synthesizer of truth, capable of turning scattered insight into cohesive guidance or teaching. Altogether, Amelia's chart reflects a mind that is emotionally attuned, structurally intelligent, and spiritually discerning. She navigates life through clarity, compassion, and form, building intelligence not just as knowledge, but as an art of living with insight. Career based on intelligence for Amelia. Amelia's chart reveals a subtle yet multidimensional intelligence system, shaped by her Virgo ascendant in Hasta, the hand that crafts order from chaos. Her planetary placements express themselves through key types of intelligence: interpersonal, intrapersonal, existential, linguistic, visual spatial, and bodily kinesthetic. Each is tied not just to function, but to purpose, giving her the capacity to work in fields where insight, form, and emotional clarity are needed to create meaning, structure, and impact. In the third house, Moon in Vishaka and Ketu in Anuradha form a powerful base for interpersonal and existential intelligence. She likely has the ability to feel what others cannot say, absorbing emotional subtext, watching pattern more than performance. This makes her exceptionally suited to counseling, trauma-informed coaching, or investigative research involving the human psyche. She doesn't flinch from intensity, she interprets it, helping others understand themselves through layered emotional truths. Her fourth house, Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, gives her a deep well of visual spatial intelligence, filtered through mysticism and emotional symbolism. She may be drawn to creating sacred or emotionally intelligent environments, spaces where people can reflect, heal, or transform. This suits her for roles in holistic interior design, temple or retreat architecture, visual healing therapies, or curating spiritual art forms that carry meaning beneath the surface. In the fifth house, Sun in Purva Bhadrapada reinforces intrapersonal intelligence with visionary purpose. She has the capacity to articulate large truths with clarity and authority. Her creativity is purpose-led, not for display, but for change. This placement supports work in thought leadership, transformational education, content design for values-driven platforms, or creative mentoring that links selfhood with contribution. In the sixth house, Saturn in Purva Falguni and Mercury in Purva Bhadrapada activate a mix of bodily, kinesthetic, and linguistic intelligence with the ability to create structure in service-oriented settings. Amelia may work best in healing professions that combine talk and touch, mind-body practices, integrative health, trauma-informed somatics, or even psycholinguistics. Mercury here adds transformative articulation. She could teach, write, or speak about healing with deep precision and rhythm. The conjunction of Mars and Mercury in Uttara Bhadrapada in the seventh house refines these intelligences even further. This pairing empowers her to speak clearly through action and act decisively through discernment. In partnerships and professional consultations, she is likely to bring calm clarity and energetic integrity. This supports careers such as negotiation coaching, emotional processing facilitation, therapeutic bodywork with verbal integration, or conscious conflict mediation, especially in intimate or high-emotion settings. Her ninth house, Jupiter in Mrigashira, reflects existential intelligence through inquiry, language, and moral vision. Amelia is driven by the need to understand why people believe what they do and how to evolve those beliefs. This aligns her with spiritual education, contemplative teaching, cultural research, or systems-based guidance that helps others refine their worldview. Her natural curiosity allows her to cross-pollinate fields, from psychology to philosophy to design, and craft teachings that feel both grounded and liberating. Amelia's ideal careers will sit at the crossroads of meaning and precision, emotion and articulation, healing and intelligence. She is a translator of the invisible, giving form to emotion, structure to inner process, and language to subtle truth. Whether she teaches, heals, writes, or mentors, her brilliance lies in the way she refines experience into wisdom and turns silence into language that moves. Intelligence type with astrology case study. Julianne's Virgo Ascendant in Shravana sets the tone for a mind that learns through deep listening, observation, and memory. Shravana brings intelligence that is perceptive, structured, and devoted to meaningful understanding. Across her chart, we see clearly defined expressions of interpersonal, intrapersonal, linguistic, existential, bodily kinesthetic, and visual spatial intelligence, shaped by planetary positions in psychologically charged nakshatras and purpose-driven houses. In the seventh house, Julianne carries a dynamic trio, Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter in Ashlesha, which powerfully supports interpersonal intelligence. Ashlesha adds emotional strategy, subtle perception, and psychic precision. The Sun gives presence and identity in one-on-one dynamics. Mercury brings verbal acuity and flexible thinking, and Jupiter infuses wisdom, belief, and moral depth. Together, these placements allow her to navigate relationship, negotiation, and emotionally intelligent communication with a rare combination of insight, integrity, and persuasive calm. This same cluster strongly activates both linguistic and intrapersonal intelligence. Mercury in Ashlesha allows Julianne to analyze tone, language, and emotional motive, crafting her communication with clarity and resonance. Jupiter adds internal structure and ethical reflection, giving her a sense of what is right beyond what is simply effective. She is likely to express herself thoughtfully, integrating emotional intelligence with philosophical depth, a mind designed for counseling, teaching, or meaning-making through language. In the 10th house, Mars in Vishaka and Ketu in Swati point to existential intelligence and bodily kinesthetic intelligence working together in her public and professional life. Mars in Vishaka gives purposeful drive, ethical courage, and a strong sense of direction in career. Ketu in Swati adds subtle mastery and detachment. Julianne is not motivated by status, but by alignment. This combination supports her in roles that blend will and wisdom. Healing justice, strategic leadership, integrative systems work, or any path where conviction must meet timing and diplomacy. Venus in Purva Falguni in the 8th house brings forth visual spatial intelligence with an emotional and transformative tone. She likely processes intimacy, trust, and self-worth through aesthetic structure, able to create emotionally potent experiences through design, sensuality, or atmosphere. Her intelligence here comes through perception of visual harmony as a vehicle for healing or insight. She may be drawn to sacred design, sensual healing arts, or roles where emotional and energetic depth are translated into visual or relational beauty. The moon in Jeshta in her 11th house sharpens her interpersonal intelligence within group dynamics. Jeshta adds emotional maturity, psychic leadership, and guarded wisdom. She likely holds emotional awareness for the collective without needing to dominate it. She may prefer to work with small, intentional circles where depth is prioritized over visibility. Her role in community is often that of emotional anchor, guiding others through intuitive clarity and earned authority. Altogether, Julianne's chart expresses a refined synthesis of psychological, aesthetic, and existential perception. She thinks with feeling, speaks with precision, and leads with subtle strength. Her intelligence is not just cognitive, it is rhythmic, emotional, relational, and ethical. She is someone who builds insight into structure, beauty into transformation, and emotional truth into forms that guide, heal, or inspire. Career based on intelligence for Julianne. Julianne's career path is supported by a constellation of refined and psychologically attuned intelligences, each grounded in her Virgo ascendant in Shravana, the nakshatra of the listener, the recorder of wisdom, and the one who perceives through sound, memory, and rhythm. Her strongest expressions of interpersonal, intrapersonal, linguistic, existential, bodily kinesthetic, and visual spatial intelligence give her the ability to operate in complex emotional, intellectual, and socially transformative environments. The cluster of Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter in Ashlesha in her 7th house makes Julianne naturally suited for relationship-based professions that require depth psychology, emotional intelligence, and verbal precision. She is likely drawn to roles such as therapist, mediator, trauma coach, or strategist, positions where subtle insight into power dynamics, emotional nuance, and moral consequence are essential. Her language carries weight, and she may be recognized for her ability to say what others are afraid to name, especially in intimate, legal, or ethical contexts. Mercury in this trio also gives her refined linguistic intelligence, suggesting natural ability in emotionally intelligent writing, public speaking, or editing. She may excel in ghostwriting, therapeutic narrative coaching, content design for mental health or spirituality, or consulting roles where communication is the transformation. Jupiter, meanwhile, gives her the intrapersonal capacity to guide others, not just from knowledge, but from self-awareness, making her a strong candidate for leadership in conscious communication, ethics training, or coaching that aligns belief with behavior. In her 10th house, Mars in Vishaka and Ketu in Swati suggest a career style marked by existential clarity and strategic action. She may be drawn to social justice, psychological transformation, or visionary entrepreneurship, anything that fuses personal will with public purpose. Mars pushes her to lead or pioneer, while Ketu prefers subtle mastery, making her well-suited for behind-the-scenes influence or specialized authority. Roles in healing justice, spiritual activism, legal reform, or esoteric business strategy could be highly aligned. Her Venus in Purva Falguni in the 8th house expresses through visual spatial intelligence in transformative, private, or emotionally charged domains. She may find success in therapeutic aesthetics, sacred sexuality, energy healing, or arts that touch on desire, value, and emotional integration. She sees beauty not as decoration, but as a doorway to healing, and her work may involve guiding others into deeper worth through visual or sensory experience. With the moon in Jyeshta in her 11th house, Julianne holds emotional insight into collective spaces, offering interpersonal intelligence that is protective, strategic, and emotionally anchored. She may be the emotional compass in teams or communities, guiding through intuition and experience rather than showmanship. This makes her ideal for emotionally intelligent community leadership, trauma-informed network building, or mentorship in group healing or empowerment programs. Altogether, Julianne is best suited to careers where clarity, emotional intelligence, aesthetic structure, and moral depth come together, whether in private practice, conscious communication, transformative education, or spiritual leadership. Her intelligence doesn't shout. It listens, responds, and moves from within. She is here to bring precision to emotion, voice to insight, and a steady hand to the quiet work of transformation. Intelligence type with astrology case study, Sandy. Sandy's planetary placements span from the 5th to the 12th house, illuminating key zones of learning, service, belief, ambition, and spiritual transcendence. With her ascendant in Ravati Pisces, Sandy leads with compassion, subtle perception, and a natural draw toward wholeness and universal understanding. Her intelligence is intuitive, reflective, idealistic, and strategic. By focusing on her Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter, we can identify how each intelligence type manifests in her and aligns with purposeful direction. Jupiter in Pushya in the 5th house reflects strong intrapersonal intelligence. This is the house of knowledge and creativity, and Pushya adds nurturing structure and devotion to higher principles. Sandy has a natural ability to reflect on her inner world, develop ethical self-awareness, and track her emotional and moral development with emotional depth and stability. She would excel in roles where wisdom, self-reflection, education, or mentorship are central, including teaching, academic counseling, child-focused guidance, or philosophical exploration. In the 6th house, Rahu and Saturn in Purva Falguni channel a refined and determined bodily kinesthetic intelligence, particularly under pressure or within structured systems. Saturn gives her discipline, while Rahu adds intensity and obsessive focus. Her intelligence manifests as the ability to physically organize, build systems, and overcome obstacles with determination. She is likely skilled at creating structure from chaos and responding with agility to practical challenges, suited for healthcare strategy, crisis management, therapy-based routines, or somatic-focused healing modalities. In the 9th house, Mercury in Jeshta activates interpersonal intelligence. Supported by psychological insight and sharp communication, Jeshta gives depth, seniority, and strategic acuity. Sandy can understand people's belief systems, speak to their values, and lead conversations toward transformation. She excels at teaching, advising, or writing from a position of inner mastery. Mercury here also reflects natural ability in structured spiritual studies, language, and mentorship through dialogue. Roles in communication, spiritual education, research writing, or coaching fit well. Also in the 9th, Venus in Vishaka adds visual spatial intelligence with a relational and visionary tone. Vishaka's ambition and charisma give Sandy the ability to translate aesthetics and values into systems of beauty, harmony, and connection. She may find fulfillment in design-based mentorship, diplomacy, intercultural aesthetics, or expressive philosophies. Her intelligence orients around beauty with purpose, careers in cultural exchange, fashion theory, event design, or even philosophy-infused art could feel deeply aligned. In the 10th house, Mars and Sun, both in Purva Ashada, form a powerful conjunction, pointing to existential intelligence expressed through leadership, courage, and philosophical activism. This nakshatra is visionary and persuasive, and both planets are placed in the house of vocation, status, and legacy. Sandy is likely to perceive her career not only as ambition, but as purpose. She is here to lead, inspire, and create something impactful. She could thrive as a motivational speaker, conscious entrepreneur, spiritual activist, or reform-oriented public figure, wherever vision meets strength and conviction. In the 11th house, Moon in Shravana supports naturalist intelligence, understanding emotional patterns, organizing social influence, and using sensitivity to connect groups through shared values. Shravana's listening quality paired with the moon's receptivity makes Sandy highly attuned to tone, rhythm, and emotional flow in social spaces. She may organize communities, work with collective goals, or guide others in emotional intelligence. Roles in community-based healing, social wellness strategy, or emotionally intelligent brand building are ideal. Sandy's planetary pairings, notably Sun and Mars in the 10th, Mercury and Venus in the 9th, and Rahu-Saturn in the 6th, build a holistic intelligence field. She blends passion with discipline, insight with expression, and service with sovereignty. Her cognitive and intuitive gifts are anchored by purpose, expressed through precision, and uplifted by idealism. Sandy is not just built to understand. She is here to build meaning into action and translate ideals into lived intelligence. Career based on intelligence for Sandy. Sandy's intelligence profile is structured through planetary placements that reveal a multidimensional learning and leadership capacity. Her strongest expressions come through intrapersonal, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, visual spatial, existential, and naturalist intelligence, each shaped by nakshatra-driven tone and house-based function. Her Pisces ascendant in Revati gives her a soulful, perceptive presence. She leads through compassion, timing, and a subtle grasp of emotional and spiritual rhythm. In the fifth house, Jupiter in Pushya anchors her intrapersonal intelligence through devotion, inner structure, and emotional maturity. She learns through reflection and teaches from lived wisdom. This supports careers in education, child development, philosophy, or emotional literacy, any path where mentoring, ethical clarity, or nurturing insight is central. She is not just a thinker, but a guide, someone who distills personal growth into structured wisdom for others. In the sixth house, Saturn and Rahu in Purva Falguni combine to create highly focused, bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Saturn adds rigor and procedural intelligence, while Rahu amplifies drive and physical tenacity. Sandy can work long-term toward complex goals, especially when beauty, form, or relational dynamics are involved. She is suited to therapeutic roles, wellness systems, health organization, or even clinical beauty, spaces that require steady hands, energetic precision, and repeatable excellence under pressure. In the ninth house, Mercury in Jyeshta activates interpersonal intelligence through psychological insight, strategic communication, and belief-driven clarity. Sandy's mind works like a relational strategist. She sees through to the core of what others believe, value, or avoid. Ideal careers here include spiritual advising, strategic communication, higher education, language-based therapy, or writing with philosophical depth. Her communication carries gravitas, and her intelligence thrives where insight and interaction meet. Also in the ninth, Venus in Vishaka enhances visual spatial intelligence, especially when tied to relational aesthetics or moral design. She likely sees form, beauty, and diplomacy as tools for change, and would thrive in roles like cultural liaison, aesthetic coach, design philosopher, or event curator. Vishaka brings ambition and charm. Venus brings harmony and taste. Together, they support careers in design with depth, relational branding, or value-based curation. In the 10th house, Sun and Mars conjunct in Purva Ashada form a strong field of existential intelligence. Sandy is driven by purpose, not just productivity. She seeks roles that challenge her to stand for something, to lead ethically, act courageously, and move systems forward. Mars gives execution and independence. The Sun gives visibility and clarity of will. She is built for leadership in spiritual enterprises, values-based entrepreneurship, mission-led speaking, or activism that integrates truth with impact. In the 11th house, Moon in Shravana lends a quiet but deep naturalist intelligence. She understands group dynamics, emotional ecosystems, and the tonal layers of community life. Shravana listens, and the moon here feels why people gather, connect, or fall apart. Sandy would thrive in community healing, collective care strategy, emotional marketing, or any system of support where sensitivity and group alignment are needed. She translates energy into emotional architecture. Altogether, Sandy is built to lead with sensitivity, organize with elegance, and serve with soul. She learns by sensing, builds by believing, and acts when timing aligns with truth. Her intelligence comes through layered perception, practical, relational, symbolic, and spiritual. She will find the greatest fulfillment in roles that allow her to integrate wisdom, structure, beauty, and belief into impact, where legacy is not just a word, but a living practice.